Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you all. The of the tube, purport to everything grand and always in your world. Hello there. Welcome to another How Many Tones Can You Get Out of One Amplifier video. I haven't done one of these in donkey's years. So here we are again. Today's tone, we are after the tone of the legend, Mr. Peter Green. And this tone is enough to make me want to gouge my eyes out with a spoon made of nettles. It's been a nightmare. I actually planned to do Peter Green's tone second in this series, and here we are, wherever we are down the line of this series, and I still haven't got to it. So today's the day. It's been a night. Peter's tone is an absolute nightmare to get. It just is. It's just really hard. When you think you've got it, you're nowhere near. That's like the definition of Peter's tone, and it is that for me. It's like today I feel like I got the closest I've ever been, but I still feel like I'm 100 million miles away from it. And it's shot into very clear perspective of what it is. It's not the guitar. It's not the amp. It's Peter himself. If there is ever a great example for the tone comes from you, not your gear, Peter is that. Because I don't feel like I'm anywhere near. I don't feel like I've never heard anybody get really close to his tone. I've heard some people who get kind of close, but you just can't get it. It's to me, it's almost an impossible tone. It drives me mad. And it kind of depresses me to say that, because I'm like, everyone who loves Peter Green loves that sound. And there's so many people who like listen to his blues, his Les Paul tone. It's just like, oh, it's heaven. But it's so hard to get it. It's so hard to get that sound. And again, it's because it's him. That sound is him. It came from him. And, it's crazy. It really is. Anyway. So, I've had to as closely approximate as I can today, but I feel like I'm nowhere near. Anyway, what did Peter use? Let's get into that. Let's talk about Greeny gear. Okay, so Peter, his main guitar is, as we all know, the 59 Les Paul, the 59 Greeny Les Paul, which he then, when he left Fleetwood Mac, he sold to Gary Moore, and then Gary Moore sold it to a private collector. It went through a couple of private collectors, and then now Kirk Hammett owns it. So it's a legendary guitar, absolutely legendary guitar. That is. It's probably. I would say it's probably one of the most. It's one of the most famous guitars in the world. It's got to be. The Greeny Les Paul has to be one of the most famous guitars in the world. Yeah. It's a guitar that did Albatross. It's a guitar that did Oh Well. Although I'm not sure he did it in the studio on it. But I know he used an Alvarez acoustic. Because it was a nylon string and a steel string for Oh Well. But I'm not sure if he used his Les Paul on the electric track. I don't know. It does sound. It sounds almost Fendery to me. But again, Peter's 59 Les Paul has this weird Fendery kind of tone to it. If that makes sense, it doesn't sound like any other Les Paul. It sounds like it's a very distinctive sound this Les Paul's got, and you can, oddly enough, you can still hear it now when Kirk Hammett plays it. I was watching him a few weeks ago doing Fade to Black, and Kirk was doing the intro solo on the neck pickup where Peter predominantly stayed. Kirk was doing the intro solo on that Les Paul, and it's still got that sound, even though it's run through an Axe effects straight into a PA with not really any speaker cabs. It's still got that tone. So that guitar has got some weird kind of magic to it, definitely. But I do feel most of the magic came from Peter himself, But yeah, that's his guitar choice. I use my Lemon Drop because it's had to really, didn't I? It's, the Lemon Drop is based on Peter Green's 59. And it does, the neck pickup sounds really close. I will say the bridge pickup, I don't think quite had the right mid-range, if that makes any sense. There was something, it didn't quite capture that 59 Peter Green Les Paul tone. But it got really close. But anyway, so yeah, that was his guitar. The 59 Les Paul was his main guitar, with a reverse pickup, reverse neck pickup. Peter would predominantly stay on the neck pickup. He wasn't really a bridge pickup user. He every now and again, Green Man Alishi, rockier stuff, he used a bridge pickup. But when he's doing blues stuff, which we all kind of love, Peter Green, his blues playing is beyond amazing. It's all neck pickup, and it's neck pickup. It's like in the hierarchy of pickups, according to Peter Green, it's like neck pickup, out of phase, and then bridge. That's kind of the way it went. So that's the guitar. Amp wise, I'm not sure what amp he used for the Blues Breaker years. I've seen him with a JTM 45. Half stack. I've seen him with a JTM 45 Blues Breaker. I've seen him play through Vox amplifiers, AC30s, and all sorts. So, but Fleetwood Mac years, it was Orange. He started out using Orange amplifiers, and you can see pictures of him. That picture I've got on my wall up there, that you can see, he's got Orange amplifiers then. He's got like a head and a reverb unit, and I think he had two 412s, but I think he had two 212s. I don't know. But anyway, that was what he initially used, was Orange amplifiers, and I say with a reverb unit. And no pedals, as far as I know. Apart from, I think he had a pedal just to turn the reverb off and on, and that was about it. Peter wasn't ever really a pedal guy. After a while, they switched from Orange. They switched to Fender. And Peter Green used multiple different Fenders. You see him with a Bandmaster. I've seen him with a Showman, which is kind of like his main kind of Fender. You always see him with kind of a Showman. And there's gig footage of him doing they do Danny Cohen's Like It This Way, and then he breaks a string, and then Peter does World Keeps on Turning on his own. And if you look at his amp stack, Peter's amp stack at that gig, it's the most precarious, dangerous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's made up of 3 Fender 212 cabs. The bottom one is vertical, so it's like that. And then there's 2 stacked like that. It's like you could breathe on it and blow it over. And the amp head is actually on a chair over to the right side, and it's a Showman. You can see it looks like a blackface Showman. I don't actually know. You can't see it very well, but it's definitely a Showman. And Peter did definitely use the Showman. He also used, like I say, Bandmasters and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of like, whatever he could get during the Blues Breaker days. Marshall, Vox, Selma. Gary Moore told an amazing story that the Blues Breakers went over to Ireland, and Gary went to see them play, and the club they were playing at, there was an old Selma amp, which was the guitar amp at the time. That in that club, that was the amp. Some venues had AC30s, some venues had, Selma, and this one venue in Ireland that the Blues Breakers played, where Gary went to see him, they had a Selma amp, and Gary said he had played there a few times, and he said everybody who plugged into it, including him, never got a good sound out of it. He said it just sounded crap. And he said Peter Green plugged into this Selma and got the most gorgeous tone ever, and he said he never heard anybody get that sound again. And it's same as what B.B. King said about Peter's tone. It gave him chills, and it really is one of those tones. Peter's got a touch that is unlike anyone and is impossible to replicate 100%. It's just impossible. Okay, so that's amplifiers, and then towards the end, it was Fender from then on. Really, he did have a wah-wah pedal, but he didn't really use it, and that's about it. Really, it very simple. It was whatever he could get during the Blues Break days, and then to Orange, and then to Fender, and sadly that was that. Sadly, as his career was tragically cut short. So yeah. So that's what he used. Pedal wise, like I said, he didn't really use a lot of pedals. He had reverbs. He loved reverb. He soaked his guitar in reverb, especially live, especially doing blues. Not rock stuff. Oh Well was dry, but blues stuff like Worried Dream and Got a Good Mind to Give It Up Living and blues tracks like that, they're soaked in reverb. Anyway. And he did have a wah-wah pedal, but I didn't really use it that much. You don't really hear Pete really using a wah-wah pedal that much. So anyway, but he did have one, which would have took some of the high end off of Fenders anyway. Okay, so like I said, I used my vintage lemon drop to replicate the guitar, obviously using the CR120 to replicate the amp. We're going through the JCM 900 cab, mic'd with a SM57 on the bottom right speaker. The speakers are Celestion G1275s. So let me talk about the CR120. I was only using the dirty channel. I didn't use the clean channel at all for the entire video. So the master volume I had at, well, just below 3. It's quite, you know, it's the way I've got the EQ set, it's not running it super loud, but I've got the master volume on 3. For the bluesier stuff, the intro jam and what you're about to hit, some of the stuff you're about to hear in a minute, I had reverb on 8. But for rockier stuff like Oh Well, which I'm going to play in a bit, I had reverb on 3. No, sorry, 2. I tell a lie, 2. So, and that's just kind of like, you know, if you're playing a slow blues song, you want as much reverb as you can get away with without it being washed out for Peter. And for rock stuff, you don't really want any, you know, if, you know, a little bit, if nothing at all. Because that's where Peter is. And I'm using this spring setting. So that's where I had the reverb. So dirty channel was set up with the volume all the way up on 10. Yeah, I got treble on 2, middle on 2, bass was all the way off, and I had the gain at just below 5. It seemed to give me the right amount of sustain without it getting too distorted. You know what I mean? Because Peter's tone is always very clean. Because it was just a cranked up Orange or Fender. You know what I mean? There was no kind of like boost pedals, no fuzz pedals to get more sustain. It was just a cranked up amplifier. So that's what I'm doing. And like I say, clean channel wasn't used at all. It's just all on 0. So yeah, that's how I set up the CR120. I'm saying just straight in with the lemon drop. The intro jam was using the Ditto looper and my Zoom G2 drum machine, but they're not in for the lead part. I'm just for the main guitar part. I'm just straight in. So yeah. But I will say one thing before I play, because I've talked enough and I'm waffling on like a idiot. This tone has driven me balmy. I feel that I got close, but I feel like I'm still 100 million miles away. And I'll probably do a follow-up video at some point to this. There's a few people I'll do follow-up videos on, like Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page. But I can see myself doing a follow-up video on Peter Green, because I just don't feel like I'm close enough. I just don't feel like it was... I feel like it was close, but it's not close enough. I still feel like a million miles away. Anyway, without further ado, let me know in the comment section below, everybody, what you thought and how close you think I got. Well, you know, was it anywhere near? Because I feel it was kind of close, but not really. It's been driving me balmy for ages. I've been working on this tone for absolutely years, and it's still. I've tried so many different amps. I've tried pedals. I've tried different reverbs, and every amp I plug into, you just can't. You can get close, but you can never get it. There's always something missing, and I think that's just been Peter Green myself. Anyway, enough talking. Let's make some noise, and yeah, I will see you again very soon for another video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, let me know in the comment section below how close you think I got, and have a great morning, afternoon, and a good evening. And Peter Green is a god.
you.